Most people think accountability is just about taking blame when things go wrong, but in reality, it's the key to breaking out of your comfort zone and helping create results for you and the people that you coach and lead. Hi, I'm John Ryan, and in this video, I want to dive deep into one of the simplest yet most powerful tools I've used as a coach over the last 3 decades, accountability. We're going to explore the real meaning of accountability, why it matters, what it looks like, and how you can maintain accountability even when the results aren't what you expected. Let's talk about what accountability really means. And in many ways, accountability comes down to responsibility for our actions, our decisions, and ultimately our outcomes that we produce. And that's something I want you to think about that we're going to be diving into a little bit deeper later on inside this video, which is, can you be accountable for your results? Well, if that is our goal, then one of the things we're gonna have to do is the next piece, which is taking ownership. Ownership for the effort that we put in. In other words, your actions, your decisions, and how you show up. On top of that, we also need transparency. We need to be honest with ourselves. We need to be honest with others about what's working and what's not working. And we need adaptability. Accountability means adjusting your approach when things don't go as planned. You don't just stop when an obstacle gets in the way. We have to adapt. We have to keep pushing forward. It's like the title of Ryan Holiday's best-selling book, The Obstacle is the Way. So when we hit an obstacle, that's not permission to stop. That's a permission to get creative, to adapt. An obstacle is not a road closed sign, it's simply a detour. And when we're seeing those signs, that's simply a message from the universe letting you know that you're going in the right direction. And that's really what the nature of responsibility is. Responsibility equals responsibility, or our ability to respond. So accountability isn't about blame, it's about choices. And I want to circle back to, what can you specifically be accountable for? I would love to be accountable for results. But the key is, in maintaining consistent accountability, is being accountable for your inputs, the things that you can control. You can't control everything. You can't control the market, other people's decisions, or the circumstances, but you can always control how you respond to them. And here's where many people get stuck, which is failing to understand the difference between input goals and output goals. Let's imagine that you're in sales or you're coaching someone who's in sales. Well, input goals are the things that you control, the actions you control, how many calls you make, how well you prepare, how you approach the situation. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you managing your mindset? Those are the input goals. Output goals are the results that we're aiming for: closing the sale, hitting the target, landing that promotion. But here's the thing, you can't always control the output goals because that's not how life works. The only thing you can control is what you put into the process. That's your input goals. But sometimes people get mixed up. They focus too much on the input goals and they say, well, I did my part and I'm not responsible for the output. And here's the opportunity. Accountability doesn't stop when you face challenges. If you are trying to hit your sales goals and no one's answering your call, you don't just throw your hands up and say, well, I tried, all I can do is my input goals. True accountability means being adaptive. How can I show up differently? What can I do differently? How can I adjust my approach to get the result that I'm looking for? So to find that sweet spot on accountability, yes, ideally we would love to have total control for the output goals, but we really have control over what we do, which is the input goals. But we don't stop there. If our input goals are insufficient, because essentially our belief is that a certain number of input is going to produce the output. If it doesn't, then we have to go back to the drawing board, come up with a new hypothesis, change our input goals until we get the results. Because again, there's no such thing as failure, there's only feedback. So in a way, what this boils down to is this: accountability is about focusing on what you can control, but never using external factors as an excuse to stop trying. And of course, there are always going to be things that are outside of your control. Market conditions, other people's decisions, timing can be an issue. But you can't let those things control your actions. If something doesn't go your way, ask yourself, did I put in my best effort? Could I have done something differently? What's the next thing that I can do to get me closer to my goal? So now that we know the mindset of accountability and the difference between input goals and output goals, how do you stay accountable? Here are a few simple steps to help you get started. Number 1, set clear input goals. Focus on what you can control, but also be specific. So instead of, I want to make calls today, say, I want to make 20 calls today, or I'm going to spend an hour improving my pitch. And that leads us to number 2, track your progress. Keep yourself accountable by regularly checking your inputs. Did you follow through? If not, why not? And keep tweaking it until you find out what works. This is one of the main challenges we have with New Year's resolutions. We set a goal, but we don't have a tracking system. Imagine if you set a goal, whether it's on New Year's or not, and you only checked it once a year. What's the likelihood of you hitting that goal? Probably pretty low. What if you checked it every 6 months? Probably pretty low as well. What if you checked it monthly? Well, now we're talking. What if you checked it weekly? What if you checked it daily? What if you checked it every single hour? Well, if you're doing it on an hourly basis, that's an incredibly high level of accountability, and you're maximizing your chances of creating results. Number 3 is reflect and adjust. And keep in mind, the road to success is not necessarily a straight line. Lots of curves on the path to success, and even detours taking you in unexpected directions. Those detours, aka obstacles, are telling you that what you're doing is not going to get you there. You have to change your approach. Maybe it's a timing issue, maybe it's a strategy issue, or maybe you even need to adjust your mindset to make it to your destination. Number 4 is seek feedback. In a way, that's really what we're doing with this accountability. We're getting clear on what we want, what's our input goals, we're tracking, we're measuring, we're reflecting, we're adjusting. We're essentially giving ourselves feedback, but don't be afraid of getting feedback from others. Colleagues, mentors, people who've already been there, done that, they can accelerate your success by helping you identify things that you can't even see yourself. And number 5 is get an accountability partner. Because the truth is, in life, we tend to do more for others than we do for ourselves. Even if we know something is good for us, we still might not do it. But if someone else is watching, if we've committed to someone else, if we've given someone else our word that we're going to show up and make it happen, that creates an external check and external accountability that usually gets people to step up and knock it out of the park. I remember when I was training for my first marathon back in my 20s, it was something that I always wanted to do, but never made the decision to do it. Well, a couple of friends and I were running, and we decided we were going to do it. Well, it was that external commitment that made it happen, because there were definitely times in the winter months where it was super cold outside, super early, which I would have loved to have hit that snooze button, but I knew that they would be waiting for me. And so that's what kept me going. And I did the same thing for them. That mutual accountability made all the difference in the world. So get an accountability partner, because the truth is, we tend to do more for others than we do for ourselves. And when someone is watching, we show up in a big way. And here's some of the benefits of increased accountability that most people don't even think about, let alone talk about. When you hold yourself to a high level of accountability, you're creating trust within yourself and also with others, which is integrity and credibility. On top of that, you feel more confident, you feel empowered because you set a goal and you did whatever it took to create that result. And the natural consequence is that you start being more productive. Without excuses holding you back, you start seeing real progress. And when you hit those inevitable obstacles, you see them not as a reason to stop, but as a reason to change your approach and keep going. And perhaps the best part about all of this is that accountability leads to growth. You hit an obstacle, you reflect, you adjust your approach, and you're getting closer to your goal, and you're becoming the person you need to be in order to do the things you want to do and have the impact that you want to have. And here's my challenge to you. Considering that you made it this far in the video, I can tell you have a high level of integrity and a high level of commitment to results. So what I want you to do is think of an area of your life that you want to improve and get clear on what is the input goal that you want to focus on. And then how are you going to measure that, and share that in the comments below. And if you really want to create some accountability, get expert help. I'll put a link to my calendar in the description below. You can schedule time to talk with me or someone on my team, and we'll figure out the best way to support you on your path. That's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, develop yourself, empower others, and lead by example.